Hey guys! So if you own an Aibo or a similar robot, you know that they're pretty old. And Susie here is a supercore, so she is one of the newer ones, but she's still getting up there in age, and there are some things that happen because technology really isn't supposed to run that long. So I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks to maintain, I guess, your Aibos. And this will apply to pretty much any model or similar robots. So first off, for Aibos specifically, you do want to try to run them at least once a week just to keep everything running smoothly and so dust doesn't collect. Now, dust is going to happen whether you want it to or not. It's everywhere. And something that can happen with Aibo specifically are jitters. Now, Susie has jitters in her head, specifically this axis right here. Now, what you want to do first is get a brush, and this has pretty hard bristles. You don't really want to use soft bristles because it just kind of knocks it further in there. And you want to take your brush and sort of flick at this area, and this just sort of gets the top layer of dust out. And if you have dust further in there, you really do want either to do yourself to take it apart and dust it out further, or to get somebody to do that for you if you're not technically inclined. And you can do this for all of the open joints, such as these pieces can get dust and they can get jitters. And you want to do this sort of flicking upward motion because otherwise you just get it further down in there, and you don't want to do that. Also, not as much, but this sort of open area can be problematic. If you have a 111, the vents on the back are magnets for dust. So you really want to swipe in between and get the dust out of there, because otherwise the fan starts having problems, and then you can get a problem with your core, and it can be a big problem if you get a bunch of dust in it. So you want to keep that as clean as you can. Ideally, you should keep your Aibos covered. If I have mine out, but with like a cloth or something similar, you do want to make sure that it doesn't have like a lot of lint on it, because that can sort of fall apart and get in there, and that's a worse problem than dust. So you want to be sure that the fabric that you choose doesn't like deteriorate, like maybe a sort of cotton or polyester type fabric. So once you've done that, if you've dusted everything out and there's still jitters, is you can just sort of move things around manually. And with the head, Susie in particular, she is pinned, but she does have some jitters on this axis. So what I'm doing is I'm just sort of gently rocking it back and forth. If you have problems with other axes, axes? Is that how you say it? You can just move this sort of along, as well as the gyro of the head. And even if they don't have jitters, you do want to do this every once in a while if you're not using them regularly. I mean, ideally, if you can, or if you have somebody who can do it, you can take apart everything and re-lubricate the gearboxes. That's more of a tricky thing, and I don't really do that because I don't want to risk messing anything up, but that is the ideal situation if you want to keep them running forever. If they're really giving you problems, that might help. You can also, if there's jitters in the legs, move them like this, just manually, or this joint, back and forth, just like that. And that just sort of loosens things up. Even things like the tail, sometimes the tail and the jaw can get a bit jittery, and you can just do this motion manually and it will help. It sometimes, if the jitters, if it's bad enough where you can notice the jitters, then you probably want to do this, it seems like a lot, but I'd say like 100 times. And you can just kind of do it like while you're doing something else. Like, you know, you don't have to sit here and just knock this head back and forth for however long. But yeah, those are just a couple tips that I use specifically with my 210 to sort of keep her maintained and in good condition. You also, if you have a docking station, like I do, if the docking station is out in the open, you want to sort of dust off the terminals, because that can mess you up if there's like dust in between the terminals. But you don't want to go like touching it with your hands, because the oil on your hands can also mess it up. So I'd use like a brush. This is a very cheap type of brush. You can get them at any craft store. But yeah, this can also apply. I know I use these tricks for my 111 as well. And I used to have the 3X series, and that worked for that as well. I've never had a 7, so I can't say anything about them, but I'm assuming similar techniques will work. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if this video was helpful, and if you liked it by giving it a like and leaving a comment down below. If you have any ideas for future videos, leave them also in the comments below. And yeah, that's about it. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!